and I request Seema Joshi ma'am to give us the welcome note. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nishkash. Dear all, good evening. As all of you know, this academic session 2021-22, these are very unique for all of us because triggered disruptions have forced us to migrate to online teaching learning. Virtual classes, virtual meetings, virtual seminars, and even the virtual celebrations, these are the new normal for all of us. We celebrated our Founders Day in the year 2021 following a hybrid model for the first time. This year, after the formation of Kirori Mal College Alumni Network during Corona period, we thought of having a month-long celebrations of our Founders Day instead of one day. And that too, by bringing in one of the important stakeholders of our institution with us, and that is our very own alumni. We consider our alumni to be our brand ambassadors. We adopted celebrating our young alumni achievers as a theme during the first week of February, given the fact that India is a youthful country. And as an educational institution, we know our social responsibility very well. We are shaping young minds by giving them right kind of education and trying to ensure right kind of ambience for learning. We organized panel discussions, speaker sessions, experience sharing sessions through this knowledge sharing platform of the Kirori Mal College Alumni Network, wherein our young alumni participated and did career guidance, mentoring, and hand-holding of our current students during the month of February. If the theme celebrating our young alumni achievers was apt for the first week of February, the theme celebrating diversity and inclusivity appeared to be even more relevant to us during the second week of February, which marked the setting in of spring also. During the following weeks, we celebrated ethical and entrepreneurial spirit of our alumni. We invited 17 alumni speakers from India and abroad, organized 13 virtual sessions, which benefited more than 1,000 participants during the founder month of February. The feedback was very encouraging. It was very overwhelming. Then during the month of June, we organized two important events on International Yoga Day. Live yoga sessions on the eve of International Yoga Day were followed by Sahaj Yoga meditation session, which were in perfect alignment with the theme of International Day of Yoga 2021, that is be with yoga, be at home. After the success of its various events organized from February 1st, 2021 onwards, the Kirori Mal College Alumni Network decided to bring for its students a series of live sessions starting from the first week of July 2021 on building career paths by sparking conversation and connections with alumni. One of the objectives of the series is to connect our alumni from different domains, functions, businesses, disciplines, and walks of life with the current batch. With this live session, we have been making an attempt to solve queries and provide guidance to the current students for materializing their dreams. We have been trying to ensure the learning continuity also. We have been trying to promote grit and growth mindset during the period of social isolation. KMC Alumni Network is acting as a bridge between the alumni and the current students. This connecting arrangement would have been a distant dream for us without the support of our principal madam, Professor Vibha Singh Chauhan. With these words, I welcome our alumna from the Department of Chemistry, Dr. Deep Shikha Gupta, and the participants for today's event. Our principal madam every evening looks out for events of KMCAN, but today, because of some important meeting, it won't be possible for her to join us. But she has conveyed her best wishes, not only for the speaker, but also for the participants. Thank you very much, and over to you, Nishkash.
Thank you for that introduction, ma'am. It's an absolute honor to introduce our guest for the evening. I mean, no words can match up to her caliber. So we have Dr. Deepshika Gupta with us, who was a student of chemistry and she completed her bachelor's from KMC in 2006. Post which she did her master's from Jamia in 2008 and completed her PhD in chemistry in 2017 from the University of Kentucky. A star student wherever she studied, she is a highly qualified person with a lot of laboratory and conference presentation experience. She has numerous publications to her name and has amazing work experience. She also worked as a quantity control analyst at Summit Biosciences initially, after which she has worked for Pyramid Pharma Solutions as an associate analytical research and development scientist. She was then promoted to analytical research and development scientist at Pyramid. She is currently working in Cincinnati as a senior technical development chemist at Teva Pharmaceutical. It's an honor to have you with us, ma'am. And the floor is for you now. You can present your story.
Thank you very much, Nishkash, for a great introduction. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. First and foremost, I would like to pay my deepest gratitude to Professor Vibha Singh Chauhan and Professor Seema Joshi, alumni coordinator, for having me over here where I can present my journey with you all. I hope through this session, I am able to inspire young generation and bright individuals like you to pursue further career in STEM. So here I am, and let's start. So Professor Seema Joshi, would you mind please sharing the screen?
Yeah, sure. I'll share. Is it visible?
Let me see.
It's visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So over to the next slide, ma'am.
Is that fine?
Yeah. Just over to the next slide.
Okay. So this is third slide where you have been talking about admission process for PhD program.
For me, I'm just able to see the first slide. So right now I'm just able to see the introduction section. But you have already moved on to third, you said?
Yeah. So you are able to see it? Which one you have been seeing?
Ma'am, I think you need to screen share once more because we're not able to see the next slides.
Yeah, I think it's just on the first slide. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone, just a brief background about me. So I'm a native of Delhi. I've been born and raised in Delhi. I did my schooling throughout from Delhi. And during my schooling years, the passion for science actually developed. So after board exams, when we have to choose our career streams, so choosing science was a natural option. I completed my high school from DAV Public School, and there the foundation of actually whether I want to pursue the medicine or I would like to go ahead and pursue the dream of being a scientist started. So I deeply remember that, when we would do science practicals, and as every youngster, going to the lab, playing with the chemicals really fascinated me. So after high school, then choosing chemistry as a profession, just I think I was just made for that at that time. So after my after completing education, so when I got the chance to enter prestigious Kirori Mal College, so I was beyond excited, and I would like because I'm already nostalgic talking about KMC during that time. So, when one steps from schooling to university, at that time, it's all different experience. I still remember, that when you were entering the college, attending lectures, and then I would especially pay my deepest gratitude to my chemistry teachers, and I would not like to limit to few, but just to name a few: Professor Kalpana Mehrotra, Professor Kalpana Bharara, Professor Mamta Sharma, Professor Virender Singh, and just very sad to learn about his demise recently. So these are the teachers that laid great foundation. That while I was pursuing my bachelor's, that to pursue like my career in chemistry, um, just was there. So during that time, one of my seniors actually was studying for GRE exam, which I'm going to talk about in further slides. So at that time, I actually got to know that one can pursue the higher education in the US, like after bachelor's, and then you have to give this GRE and TOEFL exam. So my foundation to pursue my dream career in the US actually was laid in the Kirori Mal College, and I owe that to one of my senior, Prasad Subramaniam, who through him I got to know a lot through about admission process, which we'll discuss in the future slides. So in the US, if one has to pursue a PhD, a graduate career, then a minimum of 4 years of undergraduate education is required. So a lot of science degrees and arts degrees, unlike engineering degrees in India, are of 3 years. So I had to pursue either a 1 year course or a master's. So going back, choosing Master of Science um, is what I chose. So then I completed my Masters of Science in 2008 from Jamia Millia, and during this time is what when I prepared for my GRE and TOEFL exam to enter the PhD program. So I finished my doctorate from University of Kentucky in 2017. What an experience! So as an international student coming to the US, and then learning different completely like culture, complete background, different background, and then pursuing the study. This really laid a strong foundation um, to further advance in that stream. So after completing my degree, I started working as a technical development chemist. So in various roles, I started as a quality analyst with Summit Biosciences, and then progressively moved to Teva Pharmaceuticals. So Teva Pharmaceuticals is a number one leader in generic pharmaceuticals. So here I work as a senior technical development chemist, where my job involves mentoring younger people, and then writing protocols and reports to carry out the experiments. So if anyone has any questions regarding what I do, I'll be more than happy to answer at the end of the session. Um, Professor Dr. Seema Joshi, to the next slide, please. So I hope that most of you would have this curiosity about, that how one can pursue a PhD program in the US. So this slide that I'm going to discuss about does not like it really pertains to pretty much all the streams, whether it is science, engineering, arts, humanities. The standard procedure to enter the US as for a PhD is pretty much the same. So one thing that differentiates the program to enter US is that unlike India, to enter the PhD, like I remember at my time, it used to be either NET or it used to be GATE exam to enter the prestigious IITs. But here, it is just not one entrance exam. Like you just don't get a result in GRE or TOEFL, which I'm going to talk about. But they completely overall see your complete personality state assessment. So one has to have, a strong research background, statement of purpose, strong letter of recommendations. So even though you might lag in one area, but if your overall package, or if your overall application is strong, your chances to get admission highly increases. So the first and foremost thing is to have the GRE and TOEFL exam done. So GRE stands for Graduate Record Examination. So this is the exam, so which has completely changed from my time. So right now, the GRE, the pattern is same, that it consists of two core areas. One is verbal and the other is quantitative. And both sections are 170 each with a total of 340. At my time, the section was same, but the scoring used to be different. So the pattern used to be, the scoring used to be from 1600. So now a score of 310 is considered a good score, so out of 340. But if you're targeting top schools, top Ivy League schools, top 25 schools, then a decent score of 320 is recommended. And we will talk about later in the further slides that, how you can know based upon your scores that, which universities you can choose. So the other section that is a part of GRE is analytical writing, which is scored out of 6. Since for PhD program, a lot of writing skills are needed. One would be writing publications, one would be writing grants, proposals, thesis, dissertation. So analytical writing is what is looked at too. So a minimum score of 4 is preferred. Now, as an international students, where the English is not our first language, anyone who is entering the US not having English as a first language, so it does not apply to people from Europe. But other than that, we have to give TOEFL exam, which itself stands for that where the English is English as a foreign language. So here the score, this is totally based on English, where they say that when you come to the US, you are able to communicate properly. So this exam is based out of 120, and it is divided into 4 sections. So listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So each section weighs 30 points, and score above 100 is considered decent. But again, several universities might have different requirements. As we'll know further along that, at most of the PhD programs, we are required to teach undergrads, bachelor students. So they do require that you can communicate properly and explain in a way so that the children, like the students, are supported in that way. The third requirement is also there, but that is not mandatory for most of the universities. So that is called subject GRE. So based on your major that you would like to pursue your studies in, so there is a subject GRE that one has to do. So I had to take chemistry GRE. But again, it totally depends on, some universities only go with GRE and TOEFL, and some universities indeed require subject GRE score as well. As I had mentioned earlier, that the whole package consists of your statement of purpose. So your GRE score, your TOEFL score, your subject GRE score, and then a statement of purpose where you would write a like 2-3 page long essay describing your whole career journey as to why you are interested in science, and again depending on if one has a background in accounts, so basically describing your journey and what you plan to do after you obtain your degree. So this basically sums up your whole past and whole your future plans. Then you need a strong letter of recommendations. So at least 2 or 3 are required. So when one takes different courses during your undergrad, so depending on the depending on the subjects that you were very strong in, then reach out to your professors who can write like really strong letter of recommendations recommending you for the program. The other aspect is your like degrees and transcripts. So US follows GPA system, and most of our universities follow percentage system. So universities are aware of that. So you have to get your transcripts. So I remember at my time, yet both from University of Delhi and both from Jamia Millia, that they would write a transcript where they would say, okay, the student has taken these many courses, and GPA can be from percentage can be converted to your GPA. There are a lot of like websites where you would find that, and also called foreign degree evaluation, where they would help you convert your percentage to GPA. The other thing that is really important to get into the programs is that having a research background if one wants to pursue a PhD program. So here in the US, when anyone wants to pursue PhD, usually during their bachelor's they or masters, they would perform research during summertime. I know, like at my time, I remember, and things might be different now. That like during bachelor's and masters, um, there used to be like different projects that one can enroll in. That would give you, exposure to research. But our curriculum was mainly course based. Like there was not a like completely, a semester dedicated to research and all that. So having a nice research project done during the summertime would really add to that, where professors can really see that you and you yourself can develop skills to see if this is what you would like to pursue your career in. The other very important aspect is that in order to know which universities to enter, once you kind of know, because see, chemistry is also so varied, like from inorganic, organic, physical chemistry, quantum chemistry, and then breaking down even to that, nanochemistry, colloidal chemistry, inorganic dividing into organometallic coordination. So it is so much like diversified, that once you know that which area you really want to focus on and what fascinates you, what you really want to uh, like do your research in, then do some background research of professors. So there are books that we have studied of professors. There are completely websites where you go to the university websites and choose out the professors and read their work, and then see that what fascinates you, and reach out to them via email. So start a conversation, get to know about their research, and they would be happy to share their journals, their articles with you, and then go from there. So this is another way that you can start a conversation with professors. So to the next slide, ma'am. So these are some of the resources that I would like to highlight here, and you can jot it down, and you can have this like presentation from Professor Siva ma'am afterwards. So first and foremost, as I was telling you about that, based on the scores, one has to decide about the university. So this is an excellent link, which is called US News Grad School Rankings. So it fairly tells you, depending on your GRE score, depending on where you would like to, because some programs, and we'll talk about it later, like some depending on the funding also, that so depending on your preference, that you would like to stay in a like what kind of city you would like to stay in a like hot environment, like little colder. So this university really breaks it down depending on what you are looking in terms of studying. So not only it would tell you about the university based on your GRE scores and TOEFL scores. It will also list you about in terms of what you are expecting in terms of how much is the course fee, how is the weather, what kind of city it is. So it really breaks it down. Similarly, is the other platform, which is Education USA. Then, as these GRE and TOEFL exam are standardized examinations, so their website talks in detail about that. So once you go to GRE and TOEFL list, you would find a lot of material right there, where one can access practice exams, what to expect, what format, and other than that, Barron's is considered like the master of this GRE. So, there are books like Kaplan, Princeton Review, and right now there would be like many more. So these are the resources, and one can also take coaching depending on to get the idea of to do some more practice and all that. So those also help in your statement of purpose writing and all that. The other thing that, as I mentioned, that if one wants to pursue PhD, then having a little bit research experience is really good. So this is what I would like to talk about. So during my bachelor's and master's, I had the opportunity to actually get one of the fellowships through Indian Academy of Sciences. So if some of you are not aware, so Indian Academy of Sciences basically every year selects few students ranging from 80 to 100 throughout the country, and you have to present your statement of purpose, like what kind of research you want to do, and based on that, if they select you, then they for the summer program, like May to July, they team you up with a research professor. So you get a nice learning experience out there. You get to join a team, research background, and then you are also paid a stipend. So that is something that you can really see how the research life is going to be about. So to the next slide, ma'am. So the other really important thing that I wanted to talk about is the format of PhD program, like how the PhD program in the US generally is. So most of the universities has PhD as an integrated program. So that means, having said that, means that you don't start your research right away. So when we start, so usually 2 years. First starting 2 years is pretty much like coursework, where based upon your like major, you would be taking a lot of like courses, and then after that, usually, and around, it's a 5-year program, but depending on the length could be very varied. So then roughly 3 years after that is completely focused on the research. Now, in the first 2 years, so not only one has to do like take these courses, but also you have to get acquainted with the lab that you're going to pursue in. So the good thing is that once you enter the program, you will be given a plenty of time, that is called rotations, that you can go into different laboratories, and then you can see, okay, which professor, which kind of area you would like to start working in. So this is the very important step, and actually the most important step, I would say, that choosing the right lab, choosing the right right environment, that you think that, okay, this is what I really want to pursue, because this is what you have to stick up for the like next 5 years. So spend a good amount of time, do as many rotations, spend as much as time, so that you have a clear understanding of, yes, this is what you would like to pursue. Then the other thing is, so during these 2 years, so you have to finalize lab, your PI, and you have to do your coursework, and also you have to take cumulative exams. So this is pretty much standard in most of the universities. There could be few exceptions, but cumulative exams are done like every month, like usually on Saturdays, like for 2 years. So it is pretty much where they assess your understanding of the subject. So this is done apart from your main coursework. So there would be assessment of different research topics would be given, and they would be correlated with the subject. So you have to troubleshoot, you have to come up with a way, and then some of them would be course related too. So basically they test your thinking ability. So after these 2 years, during those two years, while you are passing your cumulative exams, and every school has a system. So say at University of Kentucky, it was like once you accumulate eight cumulative points, then you are considered pass. So you are given 2 years to accumulate those 8 points. So each test is 3 points. So you can maximum score 3, or you can score none. So as soon as you reach 8 points, then you are out of that cum exam. So you have passed that level. Now, during these 2 years, while you are getting that experience and you are getting to know your lab, so you start reading journals, you start developing that research aptitude. Then after 2 years, you have to give pretty much, like, it depends. But in some universities, it would be 2.5. So you have to give oral examinations. So oral is where you would defend what you have done in 2 years and what you intend to do with your degree. So this is again the major milestone, because once you clear that, then you are considered a PhD candidate. If for some reason you're not able to clear that, then you have pretty much done the coursework. So at that time, like, you will pass out the program with a master's degree. So after you pass your oral exam, you are able to defend your project. You are able to, and every university might have different guidelines. Some PIs might say that you have to write a grant, you have to write a proposal in order to obtain funds. So it totally depends. So your PhD consists of a committee. So main thing is that you will have your main advisor, PI, in whose supervision you will carry out your research. But at the same time, you will have a total of 5 members. So some from chemistry and out of department. So that will constitute your whole committee. So every year, and again it depends on the university, but every year the committee sits and they look at your progress, that okay, how much time you like really need, and okay, how many publications you need. So that's how the usually PhD framework is. Now once you have passed your orals, then it's pretty much the a smooth road, in a way that coursework is done, orals are done. Now you can pretty much spend more time in the lab focusing on your research. So at that time, depending on the projects that you have got, that you would try finishing up those projects and start writing your articles. And I would say one thing that that I would like to emphasize to people, that once you get into that research mode, start writing your thesis at the same time. Basically, what you are doing is going to be your dissertation at the end. So start writing it up. Some will become a part of manuscript, but start writing it up. Whatever you're doing in the lab, get into that habit of writing it out. So the other major thing that comes is that how about funding? So when we are doing PhD, how it is going to be supported. So usually, most of the cases, and like I would say 99%, that your PhD, if you are admitted into the program, you are supported either through RA, which is called research assistantship, or TA, which is called teaching assistantship. So if you are, if the research that you are doing has like lot of funds, then your professor would put on RA. At that time, you don't have to teach students, but you just pursue your research, and then you are giving a living stipend that you can use for bearing your living accommodations. However, the other course of route is TA, which is called teaching assistantship, where you would be, teaching depending on the university, depending on the coursework. So either you would be teaching coursework to undergrads, or you would be taking lab practicals, and that way you will get a stipend that you would be able to support yourself throughout the program. So, in case though either of those two are not available, then I would like to say that that there are other options, like you can get campus jobs. But see, PhD is a lengthy program, so it is a program that can range from 5 to whatnot. So at that time, if you're not supported through either of these RA or TA, then I would just like to give you an example of that how you like, so you can support by campus jobs, but obviously one has to complete like 60 credit hours to obtain a PhD, and for masters it is like 33 to 36. So one credit hour is roughly around $1,000. So you can have an idea that without funding, that it would become like really challenging to finish up your school. So during that time, when you're doing your after completing your orals, when you're doing your research, you're writing your manuscripts, then when you have finished your project, then the final defense would come. So where you would defend your degree in front of professors, and then they would say pass, or and then you would, depending on the university also, you have to also give presentation to the public. So it would be open to the public, where anybody from the university, or anyone can attend, where you explain to them that what your research is about. And at the end you would submit your dissertation or thesis, in case of masters. In case of PhD, it's called dissertation. So you would submit it, and that's how you get your coveted degree that you have been waiting for so many years. To the next slide, ma'am. So since I have a background in chemistry, I would really like to talk about like a lot of paths that one can pursue in. So after getting your degree, of course, the first thing is, academia, that you want to go and become a professor. You want to carry out research, have students under you who are doing research, or you want to become a lecturer, take courses, and like a teaching professor in that way. Or you have the option to go into the industry. So industry is going to be completely like a lot of options. So ranging from pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceuticals, it's a big company, and it's divided into many sections. So starting from drug discovery to when one is involved in how to find the right candidates for certain diseases, to doing method development, like once you have finalized your candidates, to doing method development to see that are those candidates viable in the human body, then performing the clinical trials to see that ranging from like 5 to 7 years, to see that those drug products that you are finalized can actually make it to the market. So there are a lot of career options in pharmaceutical itself. It's a big industry, ranging from drug discovery to clinical trials at the end. Then again, cosmetics, a lot of products, everything these require chemicals, so they require chemists to do those testing. Then food and beverage industry, and in US, both pharmaceuticals and food is controlled by FDA. So there are like a lot of restrictions on that term. So these are very highly regulated industries. Then petrochemicals, and these days, especially about renewable fuels. And this is where my PhD degree was into. So my dissertation was on that, finding alternate ways. So basically, this CO2 emission, that is a really concern, which concern for greenhouse gases. So global warming. So a lot of renewable people are working on renewable fuels, alternate sources of energy. So this is another great area as well. Then a lot of industries that utilizes chemicals, so where you yeah, synthesize chemicals, so basically synthesis, and batteries. So that's another completely world. And then alcohol and brewery, so that again requires distillation chemistry skills. And then even a lot of testing, so these days when we see that we need any tests done, then our laboratory testings are done. So in those two you require chemists, so a lot of chemists would be having jobs in those areas. And then agriculture, different kind of technologies coming up, for food crops. So chemists have a lot of job opportunities in that area as well. So these are some of the things that I wanted to highlight, where I know personally know that that my friends, my colleagues are working in these industries. So to the next slide, ma'am. So this is one other aspect that I actually want to talk about, that people have also these questions regarding, like, okay, so once we have got a PhD, how we can work in the US. So see, this is important from the immigration point of view, that we know that that after we pursue, actually after we complete our course, we are given and this is applicable to the STEM courses, where you are given 3 years. To the non-STEM courses, you are given 1 year of, this is called optional practical training program. So where you are given 3 years, where you can apply your skills and actually work in the US companies. So at that stage, no sponsorship is required. So one can pursue, um, um, like one can apply skills and get to know the industry, academia. So once you've decided that that okay, you have applied your skills and you would like to further work in the US, then you would have to obtain the US work authorization after 3 years of completing your OPT, which is called H-1B Workers Visa Program. So this is again a lottery-based system if you're going into the industry. So out of 85,000, they have reserved 20,000 for STEM. So that means that of all the applications, 20,000 people would be picked up from STEM only, and then the rest 65,000 you would get another chance if you're from STEM to get picked up in that. And later on, then that's a green card if you really want to like stay in the US forever. So um, that's how it is. So this is what I just wanted to give brief background about the things that. Now if you, I'm going to open the floor to audience. If you have any questions in particular that you would like me to talk about, please, I'll be happy to share.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepshika. Yeah, thank you so much for that talk. Throughout the conversation, we've been receiving a lot of questions. So if you don't mind, I'll just start shooting them at you.
Sure.
Perfect. So the first question is, again, so I think you've sort of addressed this question, but and this question is trying to ask, what are the important steps in preparing an application for higher studies, especially when you want to apply abroad? So I mean, you've told us that we need to prepare our SOPs and test scores and everything, but how do we prepare our SOPs? Is there some sort of guideline which you'd like to recommend, or a process, something like that?
Mm-hmm. So see, uh, when one wants to write statement of purpose, this is like you really want to spend a good amount of time on that. So it is a and one can find a lot of statement of purpose, examples on the internet these days. So the format is pretty much standardized. Like first, so it is divided into 4 or 5 paragraphs. Usually ranges from two pages to 3 pages, and then you first highlight basically that what program you would like to be in. Then in the second paragraph, you talk about your journey. Okay, as I shared that what inspired me to be a chemist. So you really want to talk about that did something really inspiring happen, and it could be your life story. That if somebody wants to pursue chemistry, they really used to like working with the lab, or something happened in their personal lives that where they realize that this is what they would like to pursue, then you would talk about, okay, what you intend to do with your degree. So this is going to be a very personalized statement, to be honest, statement of purpose. So you can get a lot of guidelines from online, like internet, that you can look at the templates, but this one is really your own journey. You are talking by heart, like you are describing with your heart why you really want to do. So this, and that is why they call it as like personalized statement. So it really should be your own. And I would say that when you write it, at least get it proofread by somebody. When you write it, then have it looked by somebody first, as a colleague. Then how do they feel about it, then share it with your professors, like basically try to get it like proofread, and then see that what you really want to convey is getting conveyed. So this is the main foremost thing, that yeah, it is your own journey.
Thank you for that answer. So we have a bunch of more questions. Next question is, what difficulties did you face in your journey while completing your PhD?
Wow, so this is really a good one. So basically, first thing I would say that as to the most of the people, once you are coming from India to the US, it is a different culture altogether. So first thing is that when you are starting your school, and although in India, our formalized education is in English, but here we are more used to the UK English. Here it is the American English, so it is a little bit the accent is different. So you might not even think that when you are attending the coursework, when your professors are teaching you, the accent is a little different. So those are the things that you really get used to over the time. That and also like certain things are known with the nationalities, like we tend to speak little fast. So over the time you have to learn like little bit slow it down, because when you are teaching students, to make sure that they are getting you. So those are the challenges. Then the other thing is you are away from your family. So at the same time you have to, as I said, there are a lot of steps. So coursework, completing coursework, then oral. So at all these milestones you are away from your family. So while you are getting to do your thing, you also have to kind of bring yourself, like your mom is not there to your exam is there next day to give you like cooked meal. So you are pretty much cooking and doing your house chores on your own too. So it's like pretty much you're learning to be independent while you are pursuing your PhD. So like from having your like basically you become a one man person. Like you have to handle your own finances, you have to handle your own groceries, you have to handle your own cooking, you have to learn yeah, every single thing. That okay, now okay, I have to start, like when most of the students, when they start, they don't even know how to write grants, like how to write publication, how to write reports. So in a way everything is a challenge when you are learning. But over the time, when you see your fellow seniors do it, and when your mentors, when your professors help you go through their journey, so at the end you're able to make it. But yes, everything seems to be intimidating at the beginning.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for that answer. Next question. How, I'm not sure how this works, but how do we decide that whether we should pursue our academic journey till the PhD stage, or maybe we could leave it before and then start working? What's the thought process behind that?
Mhm. So see, that is, I said, one of the key major thing is because PhD is a is a long commitment time, right? So I would say that when you are doing your bachelor's and master's, and during summer breaks, try to get into some research programs. So as I mentioned about Indian Academy of Sciences, I'm sure there would be other more. So look into that and try to talk to your professors who, because a lot of professors teach as well as they have students under them who they are acting as a um, mentor for their PhD program. So try to utilize your summer, both in masters and bachelors, as much as you get time, so that you get to know that do you have a penchant for research? Like, is this something you like? Because you are spending almost pretty much every day in the lab, working with that, working with those molecules. So to know that, the only thing would be to actually do it. So I would say that before you decide to go into that, try to get some experience and see if this is what you like, or you are more into like coursework. Then you can do your bachelor's and master's with coursework, and then you can go into directly into the like industry or academia that way, rather than going the PhD path, because PhD is based on research.
Again, once again, thank you for that. I think there's just two more questions left. What are the most important steps involved in publishing your research paper or publications?
So see, one one thing that I would really like to highlight is that during a journey, during a PhD journey, a lot of people, and including me, used to think that it is not going to be that way, that when you are doing your experiments, everything is going to work right away. So the important thing to have that mindset is that whatever you are doing is important, even if it did not result in what you would like to get. It moved you ahead of the game, so that somebody else who joins it later after you, or maybe your next project that you do, is setting up a milestone for that. So the important aspect of research that one should have is not having that mindset that you can only publish when you are going to have, when you have committed some work which is of like Nobel laureate level. So this is a mindset that we actually have, that which is called like perfect mindset, that okay, I really need to get, I don't think this is publishable right now. I really need to get to the next step. I really need to get to the next step. But I think every step that you are making progress, whether it is resulting in good or not, is a progress. So get into that habit of acknowledging and embracing your results. And there are times that a PhD is like that there are times, not every project, not every experiment that you are going to set up is going to result in the way you had hypothesized. So this is the way I would say that get started, and get started in the habit of writing it down. Because I think the biggest challenge during PhD that people find is that they would be finishing off their task, but to even sit down and then remember of what you have accomplished in 5 years and write it down becomes so daunting. So start writing when you are performing. So this is what I would say. So, and you can make your thesis chapters as your publications.
Okay, thank you for that. This last question, I think it's not a academically inclined, but it's for you. I think a direct question. I mean, you've described this, but how was your experience shifting from US to India, and how quickly did you settle? I mean, I think it's asking about the general experience, the whole. Yeah.
So I personally, I'm a very emotional person. I am. So meant to me, I was the eldest in my, like, I'm the eldest in my family. In like, I have two more siblings. So for me, this step to come to the US was, I was very excited actually. So I know at that time I had a very tough choice, because I had qualified GATE. So I was getting admission into IIT Delhi at the same time, and I had to choose whether I would or I would like to go to the US to pursue my PhD from University of Kentucky. So I was in a fix, because IIT, as we know in India, it's like really prestigious. Plus, it was just in Delhi too, so I did not even have to go like to a different state. So staying in the same state where I've studied, where I was there forever, and to choose to go to the US where it was like on the complete opposite of the spectrum was a very difficult choice. So once I had set up my mind that I would like to gain exposure and I would like to, know like different background, different culture, and I would like to, be a global citizen in a way and learn a different. Basically, I should say I in my mind I had like that pretty much made up my mind that I am up for challenges, because if I stay in Delhi, like pretty much yes, my PhD is going to be challenging, but my other things, because my family would be there, so I pretty much I might not grow or become independent as I would become when I go to the completely different country. So because I had chosen and I had spent a pretty much decent amount of time making that switch, so when I came in, initially I really thought that I'm going to be a very strong person because I made that choice. But that was really not the case. So when I came here, I was all emotional. I really remember that, so in New Jersey, so like I remember going to the New Jersey in December, and like there's a one place which is like completely mini India, which is called Edison. So I really remember 2008. I remember that December clearly, where I was really crying, like tears were falling down my cheeks because I was like, oh, I'm in mini India, I'm really in India. So, but yes, when you have your friends and when you realize that, that other people are also, and you are here for a purpose. So you are here for a purpose. Then I think that emotional slowly subsets, and then professional, that you're here for a purpose kind of kicks it in. So I think that kind of started working from, I would say, after a semester or so.
Yeah, I guess with that, we have come to the end of our questions. I mean, really, thank you so much, Doctor, for the exceptionally insightful and informative talk that you just delivered. And we really genuinely appreciate the fact that you were able to carve out the time for us to, just share your journey and address the various doubts we have. Before ending, I mean, I just have one last request. Could you type out your email address or your LinkedIn ID, whatever it is, in the chat box so that students may connect with you and, just could possibly ask you for advice or something like that?
Sure, and pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for having me over. And yes, I'm going to give my email ID and both my LinkedIn contacts. So please feel free to reach out and just don't hesitate. Whatever questions you might have, just reach out and don't even think that, how it will look. This is another thing I would like to say, that always ask for help. No question is stupid, no question is small. So just reach out.
I mean, really, thank you once again, Doctor, for being a part of our Alumina Connect. And, just thank you once again and everyone to whoever's present here. And with that, we'd like to conclude today's talk.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to
Thank you,
type
Dr.
my
Deepshika.
thank you, Professor Seema ma'am.
Bye.
So,
Take
so
care.
nice of you to having me over. Have a great day.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.